what I'm hoping, there's a lot of vocab today that we have to talk about. And what I'm hoping is almost everything that we talk about for you guys is super easy. All of it should be review, but if there's any of the terms that we talk about that's a little iffy, please let me know. First thing I want to talk about. What's that? What is this thing called when we grab? Huh? Well, okay. Come on. What do we call that? Huh? Well, yeah, it's kind of a grid, but what we call it is the coordinate plane. Okay. Why do we call it the coordinate plane? Well, first off, it's a plane. We'll learn more about planes in geometry, but basically it's a flat piece of paper basically that goes forever, right? In up, down, right, and left. And it has coordinates on it. Now, we break it into 4 quadrants. Okay? Do you guys remember how we name these? Like, where's quadrant 1? Top right. This is quadrant 1. Okay? And yeah, we typically will, whenever you name quadrants, we typically use Roman numerals to name those. So that is quadrant 1. Where's quadrant 2? We go around counterclockwise. So this is quadrant 2. All right? Come on. You can do it, pen. This is going to be quadrant 3. And this is going to be quadrant 4. Okay? So all that is basically a way of helping us describe where points are, right? If I gave you a point like 3, 5, what does that mean? Where's the point 3, 5? Can't just say over, you got to say up, down, right, or left. Right 3, up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So there's 3, 5. We would describe that location as it's in quadrant 1. Make sense? All of the points in quadrant 1, the x value, right? We have an x and a y. Doing that again on me, huh? So all the points in quadrant 1 have a positive x and a positive y. What are all the points in quadrant 2? Negative x, but a positive y. All the points in quadrant 3? Negative x, negative y. And quadrant 4? Positive x, negative y. Easy enough? So far, coordinate plane, we know what that is, right? That's basically the big graph. We put an x and a y axis on there. Which axis is the x-axis? Horizontal. This is the x-axis. This is the y-axis, right? What do we call that point right there? But that's the coordinates of it, but it has a name. The point 0, 0 starts with an O. Origin. Okay. So if I say, what are the coordinates of the origin? You'd say 0, 0. Everybody take a look at page 54. I just want to go through some of the vocab that I think you guys already know, but I want to make sure Like, as soon as you look on page 54, you can go, oh, that's a lot of yellow highlighted words. Yep, there's a lot of vocab right there in that first paragraph and a half, basically. But none of it should be new to you. We have coordinate plane. Have to know what that is. Axes, right? Page 54. What's an axis? Yeah, like this is my axis, x-axis, this is my y-axis, right? Origin, that's the 0, 0. We have the x-axis, we have the y-axis. What's an ordered pair? This is an example ordered pair. Why is it called an ordered pair? Do we put them in a specific order? Yeah, we always go x and then y, right? So that's why we call it an ordered pair. We have an x coordinate, we have a y coordinate, and then we have the quadrants. Is all that stuff, every vocab word on that page, easy? Yes? Okay. And then the other thing we have to talk about, oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted that one. Are inputs and outputs. What letter, X or Y, do we always use, or we mainly use as the input? X. X is always going to be our input, and then our output is going to be the Y. What that means is basically you're going to have a function like y equals 4x minus 2, okay? And then what we basically have to do is we're going to plot some points. We're going to pick some numbers. Now, what numbers, when we plot points here, okay, what we want to do when we plot points is we want to get a good idea of how things work, okay? So we want to pick some numbers that we want are going to give us a good idea of what that general picture looks like, okay? Now, what kinds of numbers do you think we should use here? Would 12 be a good number to start out with? Why not? Yeah, we don't want big numbers. We don't want to have large numbers to deal with. So let's go small numbers. So what are some nice small numbers? 1 would be a good number. 2 would be a good number. How about 0? 0 is an easy one to calculate, right? What else should we do? I'm also going to say -1 and -2. Why? Why would I pick some negatives? The reason is sometimes something fishy happens with the negative numbers. So I want to pick some numbers that, number one, are easy to calculate. So that's why we pick small numbers. Are we going to pick like 0.5 and 0.3? No, I don't want to go ugly decimals if I don't have to. So I'm going to pick small numbers. But I also want some positives and some negatives just to see, does the negative have an effect here, right? And then those are going to be the numbers that we plug in. And then we got to figure out what happens, what kind of numbers do we get out? This is the typical way of plotting points. You guys have probably done this before. I like to write my charts this way. This gives me, what do we put in the middle here? Anybody remember how to do this? Huh? This is basically, we're going to kind of show our work here. I mean, we're just going to plug in a -2. Okay? What is 4 times -2? What's 4 times -2? -8. -8 minus 2? -10. Oh, then what do we do with -1? We go 4 times -1 minus 2. What's 4 times -1? -4. -4 minus 2 would be Negative 6. And then we plug in a 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. And then we plug in a 1. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 minus 2 is positive 2. And then we plug in a 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 2 is 6. Is this middle part really technically necessary? No. A lot of people, as you move on in math, as you move forward in higher level, most people end up just writing their plotting points like this, and they just do negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2, and then it ends up looking like this. Now, for the time being, which of those two do you think I want you guys to do? Why? Why the first one? I want to see that you know what you're doing. Once you've done a couple, then, you know, it's okay to start transitioning over here. But for the time being, yeah, try to show a little bit more work and do it that way. Now, what do you get once you have this? What does this basically give you? A bunch of ordered pairs that you can now graph and get a good idea of what that equation looks like, okay? We've done this stuff before? So let's try one. Let's go, I'm going to say, I want you guys to draw the graph of this. Okay? Now, the question becomes, I got to pick some points. What points are good points to plot? What are the basic ones that we should basically always start with? 0, 1, and 2. But I would also say negative 1 and negative 2. Okay? They don't have to be in this order per se. I like to put them in numerical order, but some people, you know, if you want to start with 0, 1, and 2, and then do negative 1, negative 2, that's fine too. So, let's plot those points. Negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. What's the absolute value of negative 5? Positive 5. Let's do negative 1 minus 3. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. Absolute value is positive 4. 0 minus 3 is? What's 0 minus 3? Negative 3. Absolute value of negative 3 is? 3. 1 minus 3 is? Negative 2. Absolute value of 2. Or negative 2 is 2. What's this one going to be? 2 minus 3 is? Negative 1. Absolute value is? 1. Okay? Now, we plot those points. Negative 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Negative 1, 4. 0, 3. 1, 2, and 2, 1. Now, are we done? Why? So how many of you think this is what the picture looks like? Yes? No? Huh? Let's see what happens if we just plot a few more points. Plug in a 3. What's 3 minus 3? 0. So I get the point. 3, 0. Okay. Yeah, just got another point on the line. Let's try a 4. What's 4 minus 3? Absolute value of 1? Uh-oh. 4, 1. What just happened? Did we do something wrong? We did not do something wrong. This is not what the picture looks like. The problem is this. This is actually an absolute value graph, and actually all absolute value graphs are V-shapes. Now, when we plotted points to begin with, why did we pick -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2? Because they were easy points, right? And we got some negative, some positive. It's a good thing to do. What's our goal here, though? When we do a problem like this, what is the general goal? The goal is to draw an accurate picture of what this looks like. That's our goal, right? How many points do I need to plot in order to draw an accurate picture? Is there a simple answer to that question? No. If it's a straight line, 2 points is enough, isn't it? When we were drawing this and we thought that that was a straight line, did we really need 5 points to draw a line? No, we don't need 5 points to draw a line. So how many points is enough? We have to make sure we're getting the whole picture. So if you think it's a line and you know it's a line, then yeah, 2 or 3 points, that's definitely going to be enough points. I would never just draw 2. Because if you pick 2 and 1's wrong, your line's going to be way off, right? Why would I always do a 3rd point if it's a straight line? If I know it's a straight line, why would I personally always do 3? What's up, Jack?
I need your homecoming points.
Oh, they're on my desk somewhere. There's a few extra. Why would I always do a 3rd? Well, if I do 1 and it ends up here, and I do a second one and it ends up down here, if I do my 3rd one and it ends up right there, I feel pretty confident I got it right, right? But what happens if I do my 3rd one and it ends up there? And I know it's a straight line. What do I know without a shadow of a doubt? I made a boo-boo somewhere. I'm going to go back and check my math and see where I messed up, right? Now, the answer to the question is how many points is enough points? The answer is when I have enough points to get a good picture. That's the answer. It's not always 3. It's not always 5. Why did I personally do a couple more points here? Because I knew that this was an absolute value graph. I knew this should be a V. And what had I not found yet? When I got to here, had I found the V part? No, I hadn't found it yet. So I need to plot a few more points. That way I have enough points to get an accurate picture. There is no set number. I say, when you plot points, these points are a good starting point. They're easy, they're small, right? Is this always going to be enough points? The answer is no. Unfortunately, no. Sometimes you need to do a few more. Okay? But then the other thing is have somewhat of an idea of what you're looking at before you even start. Let's try one more. If I give you this, y equals 2x squared plus 1. Okay? Anybody have an idea of what any x squared graph looks like? Anybody ever done one of these before? Let's plot some points. What points should I start with? What are some easy ones to start with? -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And I would do 2 times -2 squared. So, what's -2 squared? What's -2 times -2? 4 times 2? 8. 8 plus 1? 9. Okay, so I can plot that point. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. Okay, let's do negative 1 squared. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. 1 times 2 is 2 plus 1, 3. Negative 1, 3. Okay? 2 times 0 squared plus 1. 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 2 is still 0. 0 plus 1, 1. Okay. Let's try 1. 1 squared is 1. 1 times 2 plus 1. All right. 1, 3. We're seeing a pattern here. And let's do 2 squared. What's this answer going to be? 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. Now, do you think we have enough points plotted to have a pretty good picture of what this shape looks like? Yeah. Why do we feel pretty confident here? Because it's actually a U shape. All x squareds are going to be more of a U shape. Okay? This is a pretty skinny U shape, so it kind of looks like a V, but it is going to be a U shape. It's called a parabola. Now, what would have happened in this case if I would not have done the negative 1 and the negative 2? If I wouldn't have picked my negatives here, and I only did the 0 here, the 9, and maybe I did a 4, or another point here, what would I have not have found? Would I have found the left side of that U shape? So when we plot points, just remember, those 5 points, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2, it's a good starting place. But it's not necessarily going to be that's enough. Okay? Does that make sense? Easy? Okay. Take a look at page 57. (57) 2 through 5. Plotting points. Easy? If I just give you a piece of graph paper and say draw that graph, easy? Okay. Number 6, naming the quadrant. Where's point A? Quadrant 2. Number 7, where's B? What quadrant is that in? Why? It's on the order. If it's on an axis, what quadrant will it be in? None. It won't be in a quadrant. Easy? And then when you do number like 13, 14, and 15, you just got to plot some points. How many points are going to be enough points? Well, sometimes 3, sometimes 5, sometimes 9. It's going to depend on the graph to get a decent picture, okay? Any questions on these?